At 12 a.m., my phone lit up like a blade across the dark. Don't worry. Tomorrow. B2 like usual. My wife believes everything. I froze in our Docklands apartment in Melbourne. Rain tapped the balcony glass, in that slow, a steady way Melbourne rain does, like something counting down. I read the line again, because my brain refused to accept the words, believes everything, not just betrayal. Contempt? Like I was a joke they shared in a place called B2. My name is Claire Hart. I'm 38. And I'm a senior data analyst at a health tech company. I spend my days finding patterns in numbers. What repeats? What doesn't match? What's being hidden in plain sight? But in my marriage, I had trained myself not to see. I called his late nights deadlines. I called distance. Adult life I called coldness. A man who doesn't talk much. That message wasn't meant for me. He sent it by mistake. Sender, Ethan. My husband. Recipient, clearly not me. I took a screenshot immediately. Not because I wanted drama, because I know how the world works. When you say he did this, people ask where's the proof before they ask if you can breathe. 30 seconds later, Ethan called. I watched it ring until it died. He called again. Then again. Then the text started, rushing in like someone trying to shove a mistake back inside his mouth. Claire. Pick up, I'm drunk. It's not what you think. Don't make this bigger than it is. That last line made something in me go cold. Don't make it bigger. He had just turned me into a punchline and then told me to stay quiet. I flipped my phone face down on the kitchen counter. The apartment was spotless. Like it always was. So clean, it suddenly felt meaningless. I walked into the home office. Ethan's laptop was on the desk. Still open. Just asleep. He always left it that way. Too confident inside his own home. Too sure I would keep believing. I didn't hack anything. I didn't install tracking. I didn't record conversations. In Australia, one wrong move and the story stops being a smart woman protecting herself and becomes a woman who ruined her own case. I did the simplest, cleanest thing. I looked at what I had legitimate access to in our shared life. I opened his calendar. Blocks of time sat there. Neat and professional. Like a perfect work schedule. Tuesday, site check, 6:30-10. Thursday, inspection, 7:11. Saturday morning, supplier meeting 9:1. Those hours matched my lonely dinners. The nights, he texted. Don't wait up. The nights I accepted a quick, distracted hug when he got home. A lazy apology like a routine. I opened his email, and a name appeared again and again. Sharp as a watermark. Jade Mercer. Not Mark from the site, not the guys, Jade wrote in short. Smooth sentences. Too confident for someone who was supposed to be hiding. B2. Don't use the main elevator. You said you'd handle it by the end of the year. I like the way your jacket smells. Don't change it. I didn't need graphic details. Those lines already painted the scene. The closeness. The urgency. The quiet panic of being caught, while I sat at home believing I was married to a hard-working man. Then I checked our joint account history. And this is where my brain trained for patterns. Found the most terrifying part. Consistency. A regular cash withdrawal almost every week. Small charges in South Bank. Docklands. Fitzroy. A boutique hotel appearing on the exact nights, labeled inspection, dinner bills, paid with money that belonged to both of us. Pain didn't explode in me like a movie. It compressed into something cold and precise. I opened a new note on my phone and named it Operation B2. I wrote 2 lists. What I would not do, because I would not burn myself down. I would not post names online. In Australia, defamation can drag you into a costly, exhausting fight, even when you believe you're telling the truth. I would not secretly record, plant devices, or track him illegally. I was not going to break the law to prove someone else had broken vows. I would not confront him immediately. A liar with a warning is a liar who has time to delete, move money, and rewrite the story. What I would do: clean, legal, and strategic. Keep financial evidence I was entitled to, joint statements, joint card receipts. Save timelines from shared life access, calendar entries, emails I could lawfully view without hacking. If I needed confirmation, I'd hire a licensed private investigator to document public behavior in public places. Cleaner, safer, harder to dispute. I'd speak to a family lawyer and follow procedure. In Australia, divorce is generally no fault, meaning adultery isn't punished by the court the way people imagine. If anything mattered legally, it would be finances, fairness, and proper process. By 2:11 a.m., my hands had stopped shaking. I wasn't calm. I was clear. At 2:46, I heard a car enter the building garage. Ethan was home. I closed the laptop, cleared the tabs, and left a normal work screen open, exactly the way it always looked. Then I went back to bed and adjusted my breathing. This was the hardest part, acting like I didn't know. The bedroom door opened. Ethan stepped in softly, like a man who wanted no evidence of himself. He stood beside the bed for a few seconds. I could feel his eyes on my face like a light. "Claire, you asleep?" I didn't move. He exhaled and went to shower. As he passed, a different perfume drifted through the hallway. Sweet. Unfamiliar. Not mine. It clung to the air like a taunt. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from sitting up. Ethan slid into bed, turned his back, and fell asleep fast. The skill of a man living 2 lives who still expects to wake up to coffee and normalcy. I stared at the ceiling until morning and thought one steady sentence. He thinks he's holding the script, so I'm taking it away from him. Saturday morning. Melbourne was the color of ash. Ethan woke at 8:10. Eyes bloodshot. Moving carefully. About last night, he started. Voice soft. Rehearsed. I had coffee made. Hair tied back. Comfortable clothes. Neat like. I was about to walk into a meeting. I looked at him evenly. "What happened last night?" He blinked. Then rushed. The text. "I sent it by mistake. I was drunk. I took a sip of coffee. Oh, I thought you were messaging one of your mates." Men talk nonsense like that sometimes. I watched relief flicker across his face. The relief of a man who thinks his wife will do the lying for him. Yeah. Exactly. Just stupid banter. I nodded. Good. Because I trust you. The word trust tasted poisonous in my mouth. But I let it sit there. Sweet and harmless. Right where he wanted it. Ethan asked, "What are you doing today?" "I'm meeting a friend for coffee," I said, half true. "I've got to go into the office." "Deadline," he replied. Smooth as ever. I smiled. "Okay." He kissed my cheek like a routine and left. When the door shut, I stood still for 3 seconds, then made the call. My best friend is Hannah, a family lawyer in Melbourne. Hannah doesn't say, "Just forgive him." She asks the only question that matters. "How do you want this to end?" "I want it clean," I said, "and I want you to tell me how to do this without making myself the problem." Hannah arrived in 25 minutes, a coat still damp with rain. She reviewed what I had: calendar, bank statements, screenshots, and set her mug down carefully. "First, don't post anything. Don't threaten. Don't play gotcha like a movie. Australia is no fault for divorce. You win by process, not by noise. Second, if you want independent confirmation, use a PI, public observations, timestamps. No illegal surveillance. Third, prepare for the counterattack. Men who get caught often flip it, call you paranoid, unstable, invasive. That's why everything you do must be clean. I nodded. Okay. Hannah recommended a PI Siobhan Kelly. I sent Ethan's photo, the likely locations implied by his work schedule. And I made one thing clear. I wasn't asking for anything illegal. Just documentation of public behavior in public spaces. Siobhan's reply was simple. Understood. Photos. Video. Time. Location. Proper procedure. That same day, Hannah booked me in with a specialist for property and financial strategy, Amelia Corso. I'd know what mattered and what didn't. Saturday afternoon was the first real jolt of danger. Ethan texted, "I'm coming home early." "Are you home?" I understood immediately. He was checking me. He wanted to see if I'd changed. I waited a normal amount of time and replied, "Home." Sorting some files 15 minutes later, the lock clicked. Ethan walked in, eyes scanning the room, the counter, my phone quietly searching for signs that I knew. I kept my hands still. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Casual tidying paperwork," I said. "It's been messy lately." He nodded, hovered a moment too long, then said, "I have to go back out." Work. He left faster than he arrived. When the door closed, I exhaled like I'd just survived a test. That night, Siobhan messaged, "I have documentation." They met in a garage area. There was affectionate contact. They left together. I looked at the photo. Nothing obscene. Nothing dramatic. Just a closeness that said familiarity. Entitlement, like they belonged in each other's space. And what froze me wasn't even Jade. It was Ethan's face. He looked relaxed, more relaxed than he had looked with me in years. Sunday night. Ethan was suddenly gentle. He hugged me in the kitchen. He kissed my hair. He poured wine. He asked questions like he remembered I existed. But the unfamiliar perfume still clung faintly to his collar. "I love you," he said. "I love you too," I answered. This time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt strategic. Because if I exploded now, he'd have time to erase evidence. Move money. Build a story. Monday morning. The sky cleared, a little Melbourne's brief illusion before the next rain. Ethan left at 7:30. Tie. Perfect? shoes polished, wearing the face of a responsible man. I waited until the elevator doors shut. Then I called Hannah. Start. I met Amelia Core near Flagstaff Gardens. She looked through my notes and spoke plainly. Divorce here is no fault. Adultery isn't something the court punishes, the way people think. What matters is fairness and finances, especially if joint money was spent improperly. And the biggest rule, don't commit a legal error. While collecting evidence, I won't. I said I want clean. Amelia laid out the path. Separate finances appropriately. List assets. Protect income. Prepare for mediation. And handle timelines properly. That same day, I took the step that turned pain into consequence, without turning me into a reckless person. I reported a financial compliance concern to Ethan's company only if there was genuine overlap with work expenses and policies. I didn't write, "My husband is cheating." I wrote, "There may be irregularities between reported work-related time, expenses, and documented spending. I attached only what I could lawfully support from joint financial records. In business, the word risk hits harder than scandal." At 2:18 p.m., my phone started vibrating non-stop. Ethan. I let it go to voicemail. Texts stacked up. "What did you do?" My manager called me in. "Why is compliance involved, Claire?" "Are you insane?" I replied with one sentence. And nothing more. From now on, communication goes through lawyers. At 4:40 p.m., Ethan came home like a man who'd been stripped in public. "You ruined my life," he hissed. Voice rough. I was on the sofa. Hannah was already there. Ethan saw her and stopped, because he finally understood this wasn't a couple's fight. It was a process. Hannah spoke evenly. "We'll handle this through legal channels. Please stay calm." Ethan turned to me and tried a new mask. "Claire. Listen, I made a mistake. I'll end it. We can do counseling." I looked at him and said quietly, "Clearly. Are you ending it because you're sorry, or because you got caught?" He didn't answer. That silence was the truth. I took off my wedding ring and placed it on the table. The small metallic sound clink felt louder than anything he'd said in years. "You need to leave tonight," I told him, "and you're not going to make me the villain for refusing to keep being the wife who believes everything." I probably started. Ethan stared at me, like I was someone he didn't recognize. "You planned all of this." I met his eyes. I stopped playing my role. The weeks that followed weren't cinematic. They were real. Ethan swung between apologizing and blaming. Soft voice. Hard voice. I was lonely. Then, "You're cold." He tried to pull me into arguments where he could reset the narrative. I didn't go. I kept it clean. Everything through lawyers. We separated properly, because in Australia, timelines and process matter. I moved into the spare room first. Then Ethan moved out. At mediation, Ethan tried again. Voice low. "Careful. I'm sorry. Let's fix this." I said one sentence that ended the performance. "If you respected me, you wouldn't have written my Pennicles." That shut him up. I didn't chase Jade. I didn't scream in a garage. I didn't catch them for a viral moment. I let consequences happen the coldest way. Through work investigated according to policy. Outcomes depended on facts and their internal rules. Disciplinary action. Termination. Whatever fit the evidence. Jade faced her own consequences within her workplace system. I didn't exaggerate it into prison fantasies. I kept it grounded. Systems remember what people try to hide. And me. One morning, I stepped out of the Docklands building, and the air felt different, still cold. Still Melbourne. But lighter. I rode the tram with strangers, and realized I wasn't acting normal anymore. I wasn't pretending. Weeks later, Ethan sent one final email. "I'm sorry I made you doubt your own reality." I read it. I didn't cry. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty in a clean way, like a room after you've finally stopped lying in it. I closed my laptop, made tea, and watched the rain return. Not because everything was okay. Because I was no longer the woman who believed everything.